I'm recording. Good morning, English class, and happy Monday. Welcome back to my class. I hope you had a good time over the weekend thinking about what controversial topic or issue you'd like to pursue for your research paper, because today we're going to be going more in depth into some research. We're going to be spending some dedicated time going into the different databases we previewed on Friday. We had our little scavenger hunt about it, right? And it's going to be your job to find articles, read through them, and take notes on those articles using a graphic organizer I designed, okay? Hopefully this will be pretty interesting since you are basically being given the choice of what controversy you actually want to go into and research. Before we get into that though, we're going to just really quickly review how do you tell if a source or an article is reliable. I'm going to show you how to access the graphic organizer on the Google Classroom. I'm also going to show you what I'm kind of expecting for your note taking on that graphic organizer as well, okay? So let's go ahead and let's get started. Before we do anything else though, let's go ahead and let's look at your project that you're going to be completing over the course of this week. Last Friday we sort of previewed it, but in case you weren't aware, we're going to be gearing you up to write a sort of persuasive article. You're going to take one side of a controversial topic, you're going to bring in a bunch of evidence to support your side, and you're going to try and convince other people why your side is the correct side. So under this project, Controversial Topics tab, you can go ahead and take a look at the entire project description. For this lesson video, we're not going to really go through it necessarily, although if you'd like to listen to the audio recording of me reading out these instructions, I'll upload those as well for you to listen to. But essentially, you're going to be writing a paper. You're going to be choosing from one of these pre-approved topics, or if you want to come up with your own controversial issue idea, you're more than welcome to run it by me. Your essay is going to be formatted in this sort of way. And on this document, I also have all of the research resources that you need, a copy of that, space for research notes and or your outline if you don't want to use the graphic organizer, and space to write out your full complete draft. All right, for our first stop, let's go ahead and let's review the notes that I posted last Friday over the reliability of resources. This is grayed out for me because I'm going to be reposting it, scheduled for Monday as well. But for you guys, it should just show up as green or black or whatever color your class is. So how can we tell whether or not a source is reliable? Well, on one hand, if you use some of the databases that we have set up at Compass Rose, that's a pretty good indication that you're using a reliable source. We pull databases and articles from only the most sort of reliable academic, peer-approved sources that we can. In addition, though, if for whatever reason you don't really want to use 100% articles from the databases we have, if you want to use Google, heaven forbid, be sure that for each article you look at, you're checking to see if they have an author listed, if the information is recent, if they take information from other sources and state where they get their sources. Sometimes you'll see a blog and it just doesn't really talk about where they're getting their facts from. That's not super reliable. Does it have a .edu or .gov domain? Those are usually more reliable. And if it has a good writing style to it, if they use proper grammar, then that's a pretty good indication that they're using a reliable source. Okay, now today's lesson though is going to assume that you're actually going to be using our databases we have set up at Compass Rose. So let's go ahead and let's go down. Let's take a look at the assignment for today. Let's see, which is, it's going to be the 330 Research Note Taker Graphic Organizer here, okay? So this graphic organizer, once you click on that, it will bring up this. Should help you to keep all of your notes for the different articles you're reading organized and in one place for you. I have this set up so when you click on these different text boxes, they'll be able to let you record your own thoughts and text and whatnot. So I'm going to show you what this might look like. Let's say we're going to use the Gale Cengage database to look for some articles on school uniforms. How about? In here, I'm going to go up to the top. I'm going to type in, okay, let's just see what comes up in general if I type in school uniforms, okay? I'm going to take a look at some of these descriptions. In this case, I'm just going to take a look at the first article. And then this article is pretty long, but because it's long, that probably means I'm going to find a lot of good information. Now, I'm not going to be able to take every single bit of information and put that in my essay. There's too much information. So it's going to fall on me to take some good notes and see if I can figure out what the main sort of points of this article are, okay? So, taking a look at this abstract, which is like a summary, some advocate the mandatory wearing of school uniforms as a way to reduce violence in U.S. public schools. Interesting. Citing a successful program in Laguna Beach, California. Other ways exist, however, that may be more effective in reducing school violence, such as teacher-police coordination and violence prevention courses. So I'm going to pause real quick. I'm going to think, okay, based on that description, do these people seem to be for wearing school uniforms, or do they seem to be against wearing school uniforms? Let's see. They say that uniforms potentially reduce violence in public schools, but then they say other ways exist, like having better teacher-police coordination and violence prevention courses. So it sounds like they might be more against having schools mandate wearing school uniforms because of these other ways. So one thing that I can do is on my research note-taking graphic organizer, first I'm going to fill in the database, article, web page, title, and author information. I'm going to take a look at what the author or the title is. In this case, the title is just school uniforms. That's easy enough. I'm going to put that in quotation marks. School uniforms. I'm going to write that I got this from the Gale Cengage database. I'm going to look for two more things. Let's see, I'm going to look for the author and the date that this was published. The author is Julia Wilkins, okay? Let's see, the author is by Julia Wilkins. And finally, I'm also going to write in the date that it was published. We have Julia Wilkins. Oh, here we go. Date, March 1999. Okay, so it is a little outdated. I'm going to write this in for now. If I end up finding a newer article later, that might be a better article for me to use. The more recent the information is, the more reliable it is. Okay, so it looks like it was published in the American Humanist Association. That's good to know. So as far as actually taking notes, I'm going to want to write in a variety of direct quotes and also summaries in my own words, okay? So reading back through this again, fortunately it already has kind of a summary, but I don't even need to write all of this in my notes if I don't want to. I can just break it down to what seems to be the most important for my argument. In this case, we're going to assume that I'm kind of against wearing school uniforms. Let's see, other ways exist, however, that may be more effective, such as teacher-police coordination and violence prevention courses are the things that reduce school violence. I'm going to copy this part right here. More effective in reducing school violence, such as teacher-police coordination and violence prevention courses. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put down a quotation mark. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to do this paste without formatting. This is really important because if you just paste it, it's going to put on the original text size, and you're not going to have enough space for that. So when you right-click and you click paste without formatting, it's going to keep the information nice and small so you can fit this in. So more effective in reducing school violence, such as teacher-police coordination and violence prevention courses. Okay, now I want to see if I can go through this article and find more information about what is teacher-police coordination. One thing that you can definitely do, and I'm not going to stop you if you want to do this, is simply read through the article until you can find the information you're looking at if you want to learn more about teacher-police coordination. In fact, I highly recommend you at least kind of skim through and see what they have to say. But After you're done reading through this article, or if you are short on time, you can click Control F and you can type in, one second, my computer's being weird. You can type in the phrase that you're looking for. In this case, teacher, police, coordination, or better yet, maybe just police. See what comes up. Police coordination with schools. Okay, and when I do that, a couple little bits come up that direct me to the information I want. Or let's see, I want to look more at violence prevention courses. Violence prevention courses. It will direct me to the part of the article that actually talks about violence prevention courses. So these are some helpful tips and strategies. You don't need to only write direct quotes in your graphic organizer. You can also just kind of summarize the information you find. So for example, if I found a quote, let's see, education to distribute to all 16,000 school districts in the company or in the country, I can simply write down 16,000 school districts had to use school uniforms, that sort of thing. Since I'm writing that in my own words, I don't have to quote it, but in my paper, I'm still going to have to mention where the source comes from. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and let you guys get to work. By the end of today, I want you to at least have read three different articles and taken notes on those, as well as recording the source that you get your information from. You don't have to use this graphic organizer if you don't want to. You can open up a blank Google Doc if you want a little bit more room to breathe. But either way, I'm still expecting to see 3 sources from you, okay? When you're done with taking your notes for the day, go ahead and come down here to the Assessments tab. You're going to take this quiz to report on how many articles you read over the course of the day and which databases you use to access them. So don't take the exit ticket quiz until you're done taking your notes, okay? I'll be available to respond to emails or to text all the way up until 4:30, so please let me know if you have any questions. Also, don't forget to do your sentence imitation for the day. You're fantastic. Looking forward to seeing what kind of research you come up with.